Well, there is certainly something brewing in the air. It's the last attempt to punch your card, the last chance for these drivers to make the big dance. Sunday's Daytona 500. And Jeff, you and I were talking about things were a little freaky in that race, but for the most part, pretty calm. What does that mean?
I think I would definitely tie down the television set because it's probably going to get really wild and pretty unpredictable in this second race.
Because people are feeling maybe a little comfortable, or they're just ready to roll?
No, I think because of the fact they realize this is the last chance for them to get into this Daytona 500, and I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more pushing and shoving than we saw in the first one.
Well, in Major League Baseball, pitchers and catchers don't report for at least another week, but we're going to go ahead and throw it back upstairs. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip, have you guys caught your breath?
We're ready for race number 2, but the mindset of the competitors, tradition holds here that if the first race is very calm, the second race they're all over the place, and vice versa. If we have a wreckfest in race 1, everybody lines up for race number 2. So what did we have? Did we have a wreckfest or did we have a calm race in race 1? And what do you expect?
Yeah, well, we had that pretty big wreck down in turn 1, so that's not all that unusual. But you're exactly right. My experience here has been when I stand on top of the truck and spin around for 60 laps, I get in a race car, I'm a little dizzy. And they drop the green flag, and I don't know which way to go. So that could be the way this race goes. Sometimes they get a little bit rougher in this one because we now know a lot more than we knew. And so now it's not just desperation. This is last chance, as we said.
Larry, we learned a bit about tire strategy with 5 or more laps to go. If the caution comes out, you need some, but what else is going to be different about this race?
Well, I think we've got some fast cars starting at the back of the pack. We know Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, who had the gear problem in qualifying, won the Budweiser shootout. We know he's got a fast race car. Ryan Newman, we watched his teammate Tony Stewart in that first race really flex his muscle. Qualified third, was scheduled to start on the outside the front row. He's going to the rear of the field. But I'm going to tell you a car I'm going to watch. Wow thing, number 18, Kyle Busch. He's starting back there in 8th position. We know Daytona 3 wide. Nobody loves it better than Kyle Busch.
This is going to be fun. Now, there are 11 cars sprinkled throughout this field trying to race their way in to the Daytona 500. Here's the Gatorade starting grid for race number 2 as they qualified. Now, Regan Smith has a spot in the field, number 78, due to his speed, but he wants to race in and get a better starting position.
Okay, road speed, Kevin.
Boris Said also trying to race his way in. He might get a spot on speed. More on that later. And as you look back from Reed Allmendinger back, or excuse me, AJ Allmendinger, Jeremy Mayfield in a pickup team, Mike Wallace, Mike Garvey trying to race in, Derek Cope, Kelly Byers, Jeffrey Bodine, and Norm Benning are all trying to race their way in.
If this radio doesn't work this time, there's going to be an early caution for a radio on the racetrack.
From the tower.
Kevin Harvick, it's a DW. Got a copy, buddy?
And 4.
Hey, bud, you got one win under your belt. What's your strategy for this little shootout right here?
I think we just go as hard as we can, and obviously the first couple laps are going to be a little sketchy here, but all in all, our shell Pennzoil Chevrolets, I think it's pretty decent. Need to get a good idea of where the handling is on our car, but we're going to go hard.
10-4, yeah, sketchy. That's a word my kids use all the time. My girls will be jumping up and down. Did you get the old hot rod fixed up? Will she go now?
We just had a little trouble there in qualifying with the rear end gear, but the car ran really good in the second practice, so hopefully runs good again today. But should be fun anyway. Like passing cars.
Well, then you're going to have fun. Good luck and be careful.
Now, 2 drivers in this race, like the first race, we know are locked in on speed. They are Travis Kvapil in the number 28. And now, after the results of race 1, Regan Smith in the 78. They are locked into the field on speed, but they can race their way in and get a better starting position. And the 2 fellows that hope they do are Joe Nemechek from race 1 and Boris Said. All of these drivers can race their way into a starting spot, but if Kvapil and Smith are the 2 drivers to transfer, Nemechek's in the race, and so is Boris Said. But if only Kvapil or Regan Smith transfers, and Said is not the other transfer car, Joe Nemechek races and gets at least $250,000, and for a time trial difference of 7/1000ths of a second, Boris Said would go home.
Wow.